Right now at 10, we're keeping an eye now on weather system number 2 of this week, and it brings the chance for heavy wet snow. I'm going to show a future track in just a moment on where that may all line up.
And the driver accused of killing a Madison West High School student is officially charged. This as the school district makes changes to its bus routes. And studying the impact of the Dane County Regional Airport. We'll tell you how much money it generates for surrounding communities. And that's all coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric is off tonight. We begin with a look at the weather. The First Warn Weather Team is keeping a close eye on some snow chances tomorrow. Alex, what's the timing and who has the best chance of getting this?
Yes, Sarah, this would be late tomorrow evening. So we're talking 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock in the morning through early Friday a.m. So this is going through that Friday morning commute. We're eyeing up several inches of wet snow possible. Best chances are going to be near Madison and areas off towards the north and towards the west. But what still isn't clear is where is that band going to set up? And that band is going to be only a county or two wide. That is a very, very narrow band of heavy snow to track. But here is the latest future track projection, bringing scattered showers, a couple thunderstorms into the area between 7, 8, 9 o'clock. But look off to the west, Prairie du Chien to Boscobel to Lone Rock. Some wet snow mixing in, turning over to all snow over parts of southwest Wisconsin, up towards the Dells as we head towards midnight. As we march past midnight towards 4 o'clock in the morning, Camp Douglas, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties down to Madison, off to the south and west, Mineral Point, Lone Rock, over to heavy wet snow, and then it slowly works through here, 6 o'clock in the morning. We're taking our time, bringing you through this band of snow, strong northwest winds as well. And as we head towards 7, 8 o'clock, that eventually scoots off towards the east. But that heavy snow band is going to be setting up in southern Wisconsin. When I come back in just a little bit here, I'll show you just where I think that band is going to set up. We'll talk about some of the latest changes in some of our weather models and how that may impact that band, Sarah, and also how strong those winds are going to be during that Friday morning commute when that snow may be falling at its heaviest pace.
All right, thank you, Alex. The driver accused of hitting and killing a Madison West High School senior who was crossing the street has been charged. Police say she was going over 60 miles an hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone. 51-year-old Kathleen Borgwart is charged with second-degree reckless homicide. She was booked into the Dane County Jail following the February 5th crash on South Park Street that killed 17-year-old Sasha Rosen when he was on his way to school. Investigators found that pedestrian warning lights were active and functioning when Rosen was crossing the street. While Rosen's family continues to mourn, the city and the Madison School District are working together to change South Park Street. Their goal is safety. Our Tanisha Shaw has more.
Should not see this as normal. I look at this and say we should not consider that this is an acceptable byproduct of getting people where they need to go.
Park Street has become a behavior problem, right? It's a high-speed zone. There's a lot more traffic.
The Madison School District and city officials are calling for change after a tragedy. School officials changing bus routes for students on the south side.
We have added 3 additional bus stops from South Beltline all the way to West Washington Avenue, east of Park Street. So we are now transporting 20 additional middle school students that were walking across Park Street to James C. Wright Middle School.
Now elementary and middle school students that attend school here in Madison will not have to cross South Park Street to get to school.
Some of them were walking, some of them were not, but we are making sure they now have transportation to and from school.
City officials are working towards safety improvements at a Transportation Commission meeting Tuesday evening. After police say 51-year-old Kathleen Borgwart hit and killed 17-year-old Alexander Rosen with a car near Burr Oak and South Park Street.
This is the list of people who have died in crashes on the streets and highways of Madison in the last year. And these are not numbers. These are people. Everybody here had family and had friends. Everybody here had a life that they can't fully live.
We all kind of woke our eyes up that morning into a tragic event, and it's something we can't take back, right? But there are things that we can do to keep monitoring and looking.
Rosen was on his way to West High School. Madison High School students take the Metro bus to and from school. City officials say that they will work with Madison schools and the Madison Police Department through their Vision Zero program to improve South Park Street.
At eliminating traffic fatalities and severe injuries while increasing safe, healthy, and equitable mobility for all road users.
Reporting in Madison, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. Roughly 20 students from Madison School District are affected by this bus route change. And News 3 Now has been following this story for weeks. You can find all of our stories, including an interview with Madison School's superintendent, on our website, channel3000.com. A Milton police officer has resigned tonight after crashing into a home while under the influence while off duty. Officer Angel Harder is charged with operating under the influence causing injury. Police say this crash happened back on January 17th along South John Paul Road. The force of the crash pushed an exterior wall into the home and pushed a couch back several feet. A man and his son were sleeping on that couch. Harder was placed on administrative leave the same day as that crash and later submitted her resignation. Well, Governor Tony Evers is calling to end partisan gerrymandering here in Wisconsin. 2 years ago, the governor signed new maps into law. However, before that, Wisconsin maps were some of the most gerrymandered in the country. But ending gerrymandering isn't as simple as just approving a change. To get a constitutional amendment on the ballot for voters to approve, it has to pass the legislature in 2 consecutive sessions.
So Evers is sort of, it's interesting to me, he's sort of making a statement. The ordinary political process and the ordinary judicial process and the ordinary lawmaking process in Wisconsin simply cannot be relied upon to save us from this, in his view, threat to democracy. And if you Wisconsinites agree with me that this is a threat to democracy, then the only way we can protect ourselves is by putting it into the Constitution.
To get the amendment taken up this year, the governor announced that he will call the legislature into a special session. This is because the assembly is set to adjourn for the year at the end of this week. An Edgerton Animal Rescue is calling on the community for help tonight. Brown Paws Rescue says that 5 puppies were diagnosed with canine parvovirus. The virus attacks white blood cells and dogs' gastrointestinal tracts. The outbreak has resulted in more than $25,000 in emergency veterinary expenses, and a couple who are previous adopters has stepped forward to offer a $10,000 matching gift for all new donations. So if you would like to donate, a link can be found on our website, channel3000.com. And the FDA says that it will now review a new MMR flu vaccine from Moderna. Earlier this month, the FDA refused to accept the application, citing concerns about how the vaccine was tested. Moderna later met with regulators and proposed a revised approval plan based on age. The company is now seeking full approval for adults 50 to 64 and accelerated approval for those 65 and older with an additional follow-up study. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg took the stand today in Los Angeles for a landmark social media trial. A woman alleges that Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube were intentionally designed to be addictive with infinite scrolling, autoplay, and recommendation algorithms. Zuckerberg testified that Instagram has shifted away from time spent on the platform as a goal.
A trial like this one will hopefully uncover the disconnect between what companies say publicly to drive up business and engagement and what is actually going on behind the scenes.
Now, Meta says that it strongly disagrees with the allegations, while Google calls the allegations simply not true. TikTok and Snap have both settled the Los Angeles case. Bayer is settling tens of thousands of lawsuits right now over the weed killer Roundup. This is according to the New York Times. The plaintiffs allege the weed killer can cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Under the plan, the German company has agreed to shell out more than $7 billion. The Times says that's to cover past and future claims. A Missouri Circuit Court judge still needs to approve the settlement for this one to move forward. In Dane County, a new study is shining a light on the economic impact of the county's regional airport. Researchers say the airport generates nearly $2.6 billion in economic impact and supports more than 10,000 jobs across the county and neighboring communities. The economic activity connected to the airport also brings in nearly $500 million in tax revenue.
This report also reflects something bigger than any of the statistics. It reflects our confidence in Dane County's future. We see that confidence now in new nonstop destinations like Boston and Raleigh, in expanded services on existing routes to Chicago, Phoenix, and Washington, D.C.
Earlier this month, airport officials announced they set an all-time passenger record in 2025, serving nearly 2.5 million travelers. Coming up next at 10, recovery efforts are underway after a deadly avalanche out in California. And the partial government shutdown continues. We'll tell you why the White House threw out the latest proposal from Democrats. And Alex tells us about where some wet snow may show up tomorrow night. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Officials say 8 skiers have been found dead following an avalanche near California's Lake Tahoe. They were part of a group of 15 skiers and guides who were on a 3-day-long trip in the Castle Peak area. Intense storms moved in and suddenly dumped several feet of snow. Authorities say they still have to recover the victims, but the snow conditions are making that difficult. FEMA has been ordered to stop all new travel for its workers. The Department of Homeland Security issued that edict due to the partial government shutdown affecting the agency. What this means is FEMA agents in the field can continue their work, but no new workers can help, and deployed employees cannot come home until their projects are completed. FEMA is not funded by the stalled budget. Rather, its operations are mostly covered by a separate disaster relief fund. And it is day 5 of that partial government shutdown, both sides saying the ball to end the impasse is in the other's court. Democrats remain firm in their demands for significant reforms to ICE and DHS oversight, including requiring federal agents to get judicial warrants before entering private property and also removing masks during operations.
Last night, they sent over a counter proposal that frankly was very unserious, and we hope they get serious very soon because Americans are going to be impacted by this.
Republicans have decided that they would rather shut down FEMA, shut down TSA, and shut down the Coast Guard than get ICE under control.
So far, negotiations are only taking place among staffers, with Democratic leaders and president still not engaging in direct talks. Now to the forecast. The First Warn Weather Team has been tracking another weather system. And Alex, it sounds like alert conditions on the way.
Yes, alert day conditions. Enough confidence here now, Sarah, in southern Wisconsin as we get evening weather models in to confirm that it is very likely that several inches of heavy wet snow are going to fall for areas near Madison and areas off towards the north and towards the west. This is Thursday overnight around midnight, lasting through the Friday morning commute. And that's another part of why we're highlighting this period for alert day conditions, is the impact to that Friday morning commute. Let me explain here. Let's dive into future track and show you the very latest here as we move into Thursday night at around 6 o'clock. A couple of showers and a couple isolated thunderstorms working their way to the north. Look at Madison at 9 o'clock and off to the southwest near Mineral Point. I think we're getting another weather model update as we speak here. As we head towards midnight, the Dells to Lone Rock to Boscobel to Prairie du Chien to Mineral Point, the west side of Madison, a mix of rain over to heavy wet snow. As we move further into the night at 4 o'clock, notice that this band of snow is only 2 or so counties wide, stretching from Camp Douglas to Boscobel on the backside to Madison right in the middle with this latest future track projection. And then you get over to Watertown and Juneau down to just east of Janesville. It's still raining at 4 o'clock Friday morning. And then that band slowly pivots through the area through that 6, 7, 8, 9 time frame Friday morning with strong northwest winds. And this rate of snow could come down at a very heavy pace. We've got a lot of water with this weather system. It also is a rapidly intensifying weather system. When this occurs, this happens not uncommonly. February, March, sometimes in April, you get these strengthening weather systems. There's a lot of water, and that can squeeze out into a very narrow band of heavy wet snow, at least several inches possible in that band. Where that band sets up here, I think with the latest weather model projections here, I think the far northwest part of this band, north and west of the Viroqua area up towards La Crosse, might be the cutoff line. I think this band is going to be really targeting, as I mentioned earlier in the evening, Prairie du Chien, Boscobel, up to Richland Center, up to the Dells, as far south and east as Madison. It could shift a little bit further to the south as well. But once again, this band, this 1 or 2, maybe 3 counties at most wide band, is going to be accompanied with winds gusting at times up to 35 to 40 miles per hour. That's going to reduce visibilities, and this is the wet, heavy kind of the variety of snow that we're expecting. Temperatures tonight preceding this next weather maker in the 20s to near 30 degrees. Highs tomorrow right around 50. Falling temperatures quickly Thursday night with rain and thunderstorms changing over to that heavy wet snow from northwest to southeast. We do have alert day conditions now for Friday morning. That heavy wet snow again likely going to impact that Friday morning commute, and we'll be having the very latest updates throughout the daytime tomorrow as we move through. Tomorrow we'll continue updates with our weather models, Sarah, that's going to again help us to pinpoint where is that narrow band going to be. And like I said, it's only going to be 1 or 2 or 3 counties wide, and where it does set up, it could come down at quite a heavy pace.
And it's a lot to look out for, which you guys have it.
We'll be tracking the track of that weather system very closely.
Sounds good. It sounds like you have a special report to talk about.
That is very true. I almost forgot about this because I'm thinking here all about snow, but the First Run Weather Team, we have been working so hard on an informative and exciting weather special. And it's time for you, Southern Wisconsin, to get severe weather ready. This special will feature how watches and warnings are issued here, not just in Southern Wisconsin, but across the United States. The latest severe weather research on Southern Wisconsin's severe weather patterns, what goes into issuing alert days, and how the First Run Weather Team conducts severe weather drills to always keep you ahead the very latest severe weather tracking technologies and how we keep you safe from severe weather. That's all behind the scenes, and that's next Wednesday. That will air here on Channel 3 at 6:30 p.m.
So we not only have the most accurate team, we've got an awesome special coming up.
We're looking forward to showing Southern Wisconsin what we have come up with to keep you severe weather ready as we head into this severe weather season.
Sounds great. Thank you, Alex. Well, the Green Bay Packers, we're moving on to sports here, are facing a new challenge on their offense. They could soon lose their backup quarterback. News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde tells us why Malik Willis may leave.
NFL free agency doesn't kick off for another several weeks. The negotiating window opens on March 9th, and yet the Packers know that they probably have one of the hottest free agents on the market. And they also know they aren't going to be able to keep him. It's Malik Willis, their backup quarterback, who filled in admirably every single time the Packers needed him over the past 2 seasons when Jordan Love wasn't available. Now he figures to get a very large contract and a very large opportunity to be a starter elsewhere. And Packers GM Brian Gutekunst knows that while they'd love to have him as their insurance policy, that policy is about to expire.
As obviously, we'd love to have Malik back, but at the same time, to be realistic, I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities to maybe play more than he would here, so we'll see where that goes.
We'll have more on Malik Willis's prospects and the Packers' options to replace him later this week on our website, channel3000.com, where you can find all of our Packers coverage. And while you're there, you can sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox. In Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
All right, Jason, we don't like losing Malik, and we really don't like losing with hockey either.
No, we don't like losing at
In general.
all. We just want our teams to win every game ever, which hopefully could happen for Wisconsin men's hockey in the future. After losing 7 of their last 10, can the Badgers return to their title contending form? The answer and a sneak peek into the Wisconsin Huddle next on News 3 Now.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS.
Believe it or not, the hockey season is heading down the home stretch. The Wisconsin women, of course, remain the nation's top-ranked team with reinforcements on the way, but the men, who were once ranked the number 2 team in the country, have struggled, losing 7 of their last 10. But as you'll learn on this week's Wisconsin Huddle, haven't lost their confidence.
How does the team feel right now heading into this final stretch? You hit a rough patch, but you've kind of gotten up back on the horse. How do things feel right now?
I think there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz. There's still a lot of hope and potential for this team that, we know we're really capable of reaching. So I think we're just ready to get after it and start to play some really meaningful hockey.
And how good can this team be down this final stretch? Is that even what you guys are thinking about right now?
Absolutely. It's hard not to look ahead, but ultimately we get the chance to play a really good team this weekend, and we feel like we can be any team in the country on any given night. So I think there's just a lot of excitement and a lot of courage and confidence that can be brought from that.
And some big news in the volleyball world. Matt Furbringer, the head coach of Love Madison, was named the head coach of the U.S. men's beach volleyball's national team. The president of USA Volleyball said, "There's no one I could imagine better serving in this role." Well, yet another trade deadline has come and gone, and Giannis is still a Milwaukee Buck, which is a great thing, but it is the All-Star break, so there's no better time to check in on everything Antetokounmpo. Let's start with that nagging calf injury. He last played in a game nearly a month ago. He was an NBA All-Star, but didn't play in the game. But he did give a promising update over the break on how he's feeling after missing 19 of his team's last 38 games.
I feel good. I feel 100%, to be honest with you. I just gotta, like, when you come back from an injury and you go through the rehab, you gotta, like, check the boxes, right? So I gotta do things. So once I check all those boxes, I'm ready to go. I feel like I can play a game today.
And now that we have that injury stuff out of the way, what about his commitment to Milwaukee? Well, his Bucks did win 5 of 6 heading into the break, which doesn't hurt, but we know it's deeper than just recent wins and losses. Giannis says, despite what the media may have said, his tune never changed on his intentions for the future.
I feel secure. I think anytime I talk about Milwaukee and anything that have come out of my mouth is how much I love the city of Milwaukee, how much I'm locked into the season. And I feel like sometimes that is taken away and people don't listen to what I'm saying.
All right, finally, you guys all know about curling, right? Well, probably not like this. In Smuggler's Notch, Vermont, they do it a little differently. Instead of using stones, they use humans. At Smug Ski Resort, the Winter Games is a time-honored Olympics-inspired tradition, but it's the first year of human curling. And I don't know if the weather is really apt for human curling. I don't know what human curling weather is, but Alex will tell you what the weather is next on News 3 Now.
Severe weather day, alert day.
Alert day on the way for Thursday night. Alert day conditions Thursday night going into Friday morning. Several inches of heavy wet snow. Areas near Madison and areas to the northwest end. The best chance for that heavy wet snow. This is now down to future tracking, keeping a close eye on every single model run because this band of heavy wet snow is going to be a very thin, narrow band where several inches of snow will accumulate very, very quickly and impact that Friday morning commute. So Savannah, myself, Blaze, tomorrow, we got your back. We'll keep you all covered and up to date.
And be sure to stay tuned. Thank you, Alex, and thanks for watching. News 3 Now at 10. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is up next. The Morning Show at 4:30. Have a good night.